Welcome to the Hamsey Analytics Daily Market Commentary. I'm Pablo Navarro. Today is Monday, August 20, 2012. For the market internals, the New York Stock Exchange advanced decline differential closed at negative 405. Nasdaq advanced decline differential closed at negative 437. There were 25 new 52-week highs for the S&P 500 and no new 52-week lows for the S&P 500. Pretty good internals here on the new 52-week highs. We had a flat day, so it was pretty good overall. For the volatility, there were 360,000 contracts traded on the VIX today with 42 million in total premiums paid. For the dollar-weighted put-call ratio in August, we have a very bullish reading of 15.22 with 47% of the total premiums paid. Of course, we have to state that tomorrow these contracts are going to expire at the opening, so today it was the last trading day for the August contract. On September, we have a 0.67 reading, which is a neutral, with 29% of the total premiums paid. And October, a 0.14, which is a bearish reading, with 14% of the total premiums paid. Here we have daily chart for SPX. I just plotted a horizontal line with the highs of the year. We're pretty close here to breaking the highs of the year at 1422.38. Right now, today we closed flat for the day at 1418, 4 handles away from the highs of the year. And we're looking here at a pretty good and solid market with low volume. That's the only problem we're getting here. On the other issues, we're on positive 1, positive 2 sigma channel. Again, pretty good action here on this channel. We continue to ride this channel upwards. Our next target, 1436, that's going to be positive 2 sigma on the daily chart. On the downside, 0 sigma is at 1389.50. That's going to be our support if we do get some pullback here. We see that CI continues to be red but positive, which is good, as well as CI diff. For the daily chart, we're going to look here at the intraday action. This is the 5-minute chart for SPX. We were selling off pretty hard in the morning, going down, and after Europe closed, we started making new highs. We bounced off the lows, finishing almost at the highs of the day, pretty much at the high of the day or where we opened. So we retraced this early loss we took on the first hour, and then throughout the day it was a slowly but steady rise to the upside. Now let's go to SPY to get some other targets here, and let's start with the daily chart. Here we have SPY again on the positive 1, positive 2 sigma channel. Our next target on the upside is 144. We need to get some boost to that level. As you can see, CI is positive with red, which is a warning, but we continue to ride the positive 1, positive 2 sigma channel, which is good. Highs of the year, of course, are going to be the next target to break, and above that, we're looking for the 144. On the 60-minute chart for SPY, here we have support, pivot, and resistance. Our next target here would be weekly resistance number 1 at 143. That's going to be critical to break. That would be a pretty good round number. That would be a target on the upside. On the downside, pivot is at 141.50. Again, a good number here on the downside, 141.50. And if we do break to the downside, maybe go and test at 140.7. If we do break the 143, we're looking for 143.77. Keep these targets in mind. They work really good here for SPY. These are the support, pivot, and resistance on the weekly chart. This is the 60-minute chart we have here. We see here on the 60-minute chart that CI is turning higher, and we continue to be with positive slope. Same here for CI diff. It continues to go higher, which is positive for the market. Here we have the daily chart for NDX. Again, we're on the positive 1, positive 2 sigma channel. Pretty good action here. Nasdaq did turn higher for the day, which was positive, and because of Apple, huge run today, 2.6% higher for the day. Our target here on NDX is again the highs of the year of 27.95. That's gonna be our next target here. That's below the positive 2 sigma, 10 points from here now, and we're in a pretty close range to getting the highs of the year on NDX also. For the support, pivot, and resistance on NDX, here we have the 60-minute chart. Weekly pivot is going to be at 27.56. That's a critical level to watch and hold on the downside. And on the upside, we're looking for 28.04. Of course, that we have to mention that is above the highs of the year. We first need to break the highs of the year to get to weekly resistance number 1. Now let's go to GLD. Here we have Gld Daily Chart to start with. You could see here volatility segment channels with very compressed right now. They're compressing even more as time goes by. Today GLD was up 0.3%. We're right now at 157.26. Very important levels coming in here. We're just gonna talk about them pretty fast here. We talked about GLD quite a lot. We have this downward trend line we talked about here. Right now we're making lower highs and higher lows. This triangle we have here, we have this trend line going down here. We just have it on light blue, and at right now at 157.30, that's gonna be critical to break to the upside, maybe a small breakout. And on the downside, we're watching this trend line here, more or less to the 155.14 level, in the same level that it's the 15-day moving average. So lots of levels here. We're watching here maybe for a test of the highs that we've made a couple of weeks ago, and here of around 158, 157.90. If we do get above that level, we're looking to take out this high. This high is going to be critical to take. That would be a nominal breakout here. Maybe go and test this 159.40, 160.30, 150-day moving average and 200-day moving average respectively. But again, we need to break that 158.20, 158.15 level and take out this high. If we do, we want to confirm the close up there. Above those levels, it's going to be pretty hard to take this 200-day moving average on the first attempt. But we're certainly watching what's going to happen here, because the range, as we talked about last week, it's getting pretty tight of the lower highs, higher lows. Here, the triangle is collapsing. Volatility is pretty tight right now. Maybe we are seeing a breakout or a breakdown this week on GLD. Some announcement from the Fed may be the boost that we need for gold to move here, either to the downside or upside. Lots of levels to both sides. So from here, we just want to break this triangle and start looking for new targets. So from here, we're watching 158 on the upside. That's going to be critical to break and close above that level. And on the downside, if we fail to break this downward trend line we have here, we're looking for the 156 and then 155.14 levels. Those are going to be the two critical levels to watch on the downside and upside on GLD. For the support, pivot, and resistance on GLD, because of the low volatility here, we're going to see pretty tight ranges here. Pivot for the weekly is going to be 156.35. And on the upside, we're looking for resistance number 1 at 157.86. Second resistance is going to be 158.97. If we're able to break that second resistance, we could call it a partial breakout, maybe going and test the 200-day moving average at 160.30. If we do fail and go lower, we're waiting for 155.24. That's going to be weekly support number 1, and 153.17. Pretty consistent numbers with the moving average we just talked about, so those levels are pretty important here to watch. Something here on CI is starting to turn red and slope going flat. We're going to have to wait and see what happens tomorrow with GLD. If we're going to break that level in which we closed, downward trend line we just talked about, or we're going to bounce back lower and close the range even more. Now let's go to VIX chart. For VIX, we're going to start with the daily chart. Here we have another up day for the VIX, 4.2%, and we continue to be on the -1, -2 segment channel. This channel has been working perfectly for the last couple of weeks. You could see here, since we entered this channel, we have not break out or break down the channel any day on the close. You could see it pretty closely. Our next target here is 12.24 on the downside and pretty much 14.10 on the upside. We're gonna see what happens if the VIX gonna continue to stay in this range, or maybe gonna have a breakout to a 16 level, which is not as bad as we have here. Maybe some volatility coming back into the market. We have a special offer by TradeStation. Get your Hamzy Analytics proprietary indicators paid by TradeStation. Contact Active Traders office in Chicago, Peter Albino, at the number listed below. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.